So I should be going on live right now. So welcome everyone to another live stream. So I'm gonna do these live streams a little bit more often, but a little bit shorter. So that's gonna be what's gonna happen this month. So today, the major topic of discussion today is Big Grail versus Nano. So what happened in this whole Big Grail hack that led to almost like 195 million lost to hackers. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to chase up on some of the evidence being put forward that perhaps this exchange wasn't very solvent, and also was the Nano team negligent in doing and dealing with this exchange, and in a way they kind of promoted in their sense to their own community. So we're going to talk about this whole topic as a whole. We're also going to talk about a few of the suggested coins yesterday. So let's try to move on to that. Yesterday I put a poll out for what coins I should talk about this week, and it seems like Elastos, Engine, we have Hive coming in. So I'm going to try to maybe take a broad overview of these coins. So this is the topics I'm going to cover in this episode today. I'd like to thank everyone so much for coming in to watch. So I'm just setting up this live stream right now. I hope you guys can hear me fine. And of course, let me just check this out. I'm going to get to pop out this chat as well. So remember, guys, to share this chat, smash up that like button, of course, and of course, have a good time. So shout outs to BSC44, welcome. Strategic Endeavors FX, what's up, Box? Alchemist, 10 minutes. Ucash, definitely want to talk about Ucash a little bit as well. Crypto Smoky says, notice me, Michael. Hello, Crypto Smoky. DJ Floyd says, Divinity. Niha says, Bluezel Analysis. Sonam says, what's up from Switzerland? Nice. Welcome everyone from all around the world. Welcome to this live chat. And of course, let's have a great time and a great discussion. I, of course, do want to say that if you guys want to get notified of these live streams, do check out the Box Mining Announcements channel. So that is a channel where you get, of course, the latest news from what's happening, and of course the latest events as well. So smash up those likes button. Let's get this show on the road and started. Wow, that's a lot of YouTube in a YouTube situation right now. So let me just check. Let me share this on the broadcast announcements as well. All right, sharing this. We're going live now. Box Nation. So we also have the Box Nation discussion as well. All right. Mice Elf says, what's up from Kelly? What's up? Mohammed says, hello from Egypt. Nice, welcome. Tweet going. All right. So what's up, everyone? Welcome to the episode of Box Mining Live. So this episode, I'm going to talk about the market first of all. Then we're going to talk about Big Grail versus Nano, followed by, of course, some overviews of some different cryptocurrencies. So of course, you guys know that there was a Nano hack. I'm going to take my voice and now we're going to try to chase up on the facts of what happened over there. We're going to take a look at Ucash as well. So a little quick glance at Ucash, or what 650% increase in value as well. So this is the topics I'm going to cover today. This is of course a live session, so everything covered here is my personal opinion, not financial advice. So let's start off with the market first of all. So yesterday we pretty much had Bitcoin going up a little bit, and then now it's like kind of holding its level. So we're trying to push for 9,000. So it did reach 9,000 for a quick second here, but we fell down to around 8,393. So it does seem like we're kind of in a stabilization period right now. The market cap is still going and quite strong. So it's around $411 billion. It's not at its top right now, but it's kind of like slowly crawling up, dropping a little bit, crawling up, dropping a little bit. So of course it's not at the lowest of the lows, but right now, we're still in a very volatile state, especially with the events coming up. We have basically Chinese New Year right around the corner. So if you guys are very worried about Chinese New Year, yeah, it is coming up very soon. It's gonna be, the first day is gonna be on Friday of this month. So there's always this hypothesis that people want to withdraw money when they go back home. Maybe they're like a little bit paranoid, they want to buy their new Lambo or whatnot, but there's always that fear of this February kind of January, February drop that might be happening. But in the sense of good news and the bull rush, we do seem to have a little bit of more positive market sentiment right now, just right after the Senate hearing. So right now we're still kind of dealing with these two forces. They're battling themselves out, so there's no clear winner at this current point. In terms of some coins that are growing, with NEO going up by 7%, Ripple 6% as well, and a lot of the other coins are staying very, very steady. Bitcoin Gold and Ethereum Classic also up 9%. The biggest growth today, the biggest anomaly, the one that's sticking out like a sore thumb right now, is Ucash. So Ucash has grown almost 650% over the past 24 hours. So I think a lot of people are definitely noticing that all of a sudden, oh my god, what is Ucash? Should I get on it? Am I missing out? What's happening? Well, if you take a look at Ucash, one thing that does very stand out right now is that it's only traded on one market, Big BTC Alpha. So it's right now has actually very low trade volume as well. So my immediate suspicions on Ucash is that it's maybe being manipulated, or it has a very, very small circulating market. Because what happens if you look at every other coin in around the same range, so if you look at right now it's at rank 27. If you look at, say, something like Populous or Binance Coin, their trade volume will go up in the millions. For example, Binance is up at 27 million trade volume, and the market cap is actually 800 something million. So if you look at and compare this with Ucash, there's something a little bit strange going on. Even, for example, Populous is trading with 7 million with the top trading volume, with 3 million with the second top. So it's around 10 million-ish trading volume. The problem with Ucash, what I'm seeing right now, is that it has very, very low trading volume. So it's pretty much around 1.3 million trading volume in the past 24 hours. And one issue is that it's got a huge market cap as well. It's got a market cap of 940 million US dollars with a large circulating supply as well. Just look at that. Sorry, not a large circulating supply, but a very large total supply. So $21 billion circulating supply with an $8 billion circulating supply, 21 million billion. I can't read numbers today, but 21 billion total supply. That means, of course, that there is something a little bit fishy going on. There's a huge amount that the founders are holding and not circulating, and it does seem like there's a low trade volume. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. Exactly what it does, I'll do take a look. It takes a long time to analyze a particular coin, but right now, in terms of the trade volume and the trade activity, there is a little bit of, maybe there was a pump when there wasn't much volume. So right now, yeah, they just distributed. Okay, cool. So let's see. P2P cash. Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at it, but it does seem like it's a very classic pump example where there's not much volume but a huge rise in value. So where's all that money? Who's holding it? Is it very even liquid right now? These are questions that we really need to put forth. All right. So in terms of other market activity, there's not much going on in markets, to be honest. It's pretty much more or less steady right now. Not much big rises or drops. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next. Who is going to win out? Is it going to be the bull market's going to win out, or is the market going to go into another FUD wave again? This is going to be pretty much the biggest question that we're going to be asking ourselves for a while. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to pop out the live chat so I can see what we're talking about, because sometimes it's hard to keep track of the conversation. So we have Jeffrey Master saying Davor equals to wrecked. Laissez-faire Ucash looks like a Yoshik coin. It's unfortunate, maybe. What do you think of Boss Coin? Haven't really researched that much on it. It's AG aircraft. Probably have to be checking that up. ETH Connect says Ucash Connect. BS44 says VeChain. Let's see how VeChain's doing. Yeah, right now we're kind of still very much waiting for the market to really make major moves. VeChain's holding very much steady. Pretty much everything is holding steady for a while. Jeffrey Kine says EOS. There's so much activity on EOS yesterday. I think just an interview with Dan Larimer and Ivan on Tech to reveal quite a lot about what's happening on Ethos front. And of course, I'm gonna watch it. I haven't managed to watch it yesterday. I was just taking a day off. Of course, you guys can check out LCS. If you guys are into esports right now, it's actually happening. At the risk of killing my own live stream, there is League of Legends esports. If you guys are into it, LCS is the North American tournaments that's happening right now. So pretty cool. And you can just search that up. So welcome to the 653 people watching this live stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, let's follow up to the next point of discussion. All right, moving on to BitGrail. So BitGrail is a little bit interesting. So what happened was that they announced on February the 8th that they were hacked for 17 million nano or Ray blocks. That was what was previously called. Right now it's worth around $195 million. That is a huge sum of money. So in terms of just the amount of money that's being lost, it's quite large. If you think about it, Mt. Gox was around 400 million at that time, and the CoinCheck hack was around 600 million. What was special about this hack is that, of course, BitGrail was pretty much famous for Nano, for the currency that was being stolen. The current situation is that you can no longer withdraw your Nano because they don't have enough to be, pull it out right now. The issue is, of course, right now, a lot of people are very worried about what happened to the Nano. Unfortunately, because of this announced hack, it does seem like BitGrail is no longer solvent. So they don't have enough cryptocurrency, they don't have enough Nano to pay off their users to support withdrawals even. So at this current point, it's extremely unfortunate. I do want to say that this sort of event happened to me before. This was way back with Mt. Gox. When Mt. Gox was hacked, basically all withdrawals were frozen, and it was unfortunate. I just couldn't withdraw anything. And the fact is that even after 3 years of legal basically fighting, it's still not done. It's still not done. It's still gone. It just goes to show that in crypto, holding our own money, our own cryptocurrencies is very important. Just holding that in our own access, that makes ourselves in complete control of our cryptocurrencies, and holding that in exchange is very dangerous. So I think this is a lesson learned by Fire. It's very unfortunate that this sort of exchange had happened, and I think one of the biggest regrets I had at the Mt. Gox hack was I was beating myself over the fact that I left cryptocurrency in an exchange, and more importantly, it got me really depressed at a point where I felt like I wanted to leave cryptocurrencies, and I did leave for a very long time. And I think that was one of my biggest regrets, just basically leaving the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem and not caring about new coins, not caring about this new technology. And that was because it was just so demoralizing having your funds stolen, especially because at that time Bitcoin was a major asset and there weren't that many altcoins, so losing that meant losing everything. So right now, hopefully a lot of people, I know definitely a lot of people have lost a lot of crypto in this space. It's unfortunate, but let's try to chase down on what happened. So in terms of what happened, there's a lot of controversy right now because the alleged hack happened at around February, so February the 8th. But because the hack has been announced, there is now a hunt for the truth of what happened in this whole situation. So if you go to Nano cryptocurrency, you'll definitely see a lot of people just wondering what the hell happened. When did this attack really occur? And of course, is the bomber the person running the exchange? How much is he responsible for it? And do we have a situation that was like a Mt. Gox as well, where it's potentially possible that the founder has something to do with the missing currencies as well? Was it hacked? Was it stolen? Or was it just, recklessly squandered for some reason? So where are those funds? This is now the biggest issue that's been cropping up in this discussion with Nano right now. In terms of the overall debate, there's two major theories. One is that the bomber deceived users in the sense that the money was stolen a long time ago. It wasn't stolen in February. It wasn't stolen last week. It was most likely stolen all the way back. Some people claim it in November or December. So that was like months ago. So was this the case? Do we have evidence of this? Another issue is, did Nano know about this? If this money was stolen, if BitGrail was insolvent, how much of a blame can be placed on the developers? Did they know? Did they stick their heads out for an exchange that was potentially extremely poorly run and that it did harm to their users? These are questions I'm going to explore in this episode. So let's first of all take a look at the whole situation overall. I posted a few links on the bottom of this stream. So we have a few other kind of Reddit topics we're looking at. So one of them was an issue on the Nano hack and what they know so far. This is going back to trace the records for when this hack happened and when potentially the real timeline for this event. We also have, of course, a few of the discoveries that they're talking about, how essentially that BitGrail wasn't really safe to use to begin with. There were a few issues with BitGrail that led to perhaps a double spend on or a double withdrawal on BitGrail, which might have been a developer issue. We also have, of course, people who stole, basically the people who exploited bugs of the poor spaghetti code on BitGrail. So these are the kind of points that I've looked at yesterday, and we're going to follow up on the events on BitGrail as well today. So that's what we're going to look at. All right, so comments we have. The exchange is responsible, no doubt, for sure. For something like this, the exchange is definitely responsible. I do want to say that right now, Nano is actively trading on Binance and KuCoin, and they have not had this like enormous hack on Nano. So right now, it doesn't seem to be anything compromised at the protocol level. So there's definitely a lot of worry when this hack first happened and when fingers started to be pointing at different people. One of the issues raised by the bomber is that potentially that there's a protocol issue and there was a possibility for double spends on the Nano network. If that were true, of course, then all the exchanges will be freezing Nano withdrawals, because if there's a problem with Nano itself, that means it's no longer safe to trade it or even to send it, but that does not seem to be the case right now. So both KuCoin, Binance, they're still running and exchanging Nano, which does go to show that perhaps this event is more isolated to BitGrail. So I do want to just establish that right out the gate that it's very, very unlikely that the protocol has been compromised. It's more about an issue of how to use the clients, I think, for Nano that is a bigger issue. But in terms of the evidence put forth, people start connecting the dots. So there was a few issues with BitGrail that was a little bit suspicious right before the announcement of the hack. One of them being that withdrawals were not available. So for a long running time in January, a lot of withdrawals were not available, and there was extra KYC issues being put forth. So what does that mean? Well, it means that there may be an attempt on BitGrail's side to stop people from withdrawing Nano out of the exchange. And if that is the case, then does that mean that there was an issue with, of course, BitGrail? Did they notice that there was a hack and they're trying every way possible to delay the inevitable? The fact that, of course, that people can no longer withdraw coins in the future. This is one of the biggest issues that's really cropping up right now. So were they knowledgeable of this hack way before they announced it to the general public? So even here in January, account verification is mandatory, and then new registration has been suspended. So there was definitely some issues that were happening on BitGrail, and people were kind of like linking all these issues up. And even prior to this, there was something that was quite damning as well, which is the fact that it was possible to even exploit code on BitGrail to give yourself potential credit. So when you get credited on BitGrail, it was possible to get credited twice. So this was something that has been circulating around yesterday, where of course BitGrail hasn't gotten hacked, but in fact people exploited a bug which allowed them to get double credits on a centralized exchange. This is something that I do want to talk about as well, because on a centralized exchange, what happens is that you deposit money into the exchange, and then the exchange on your account credits you with spending credits, whether it be it, Nano, be it Bitcoin, whatever you're depositing, they credit that for you. So in this sense, what might be happening is that there might be an exploit on the BitGrail code. It might be possible that if you deposit and then do something interesting, you might get double the amount of exchange credit, and you can use that to abuse that. So this is the very issue. Was this just a hack? Was it in combination with really poor code on the exchange front? And if there was poor code, did the team know about it? Did the Nano team know about this? Because that's quite a big issue, because BitGrail was one of the biggest exchanges trading Nano at that time. It was one of the first ones that got Nano to be listed, and you do notice that teams do have this issue of their initial listing. When they list, it's extremely hard to get the volume going, and extremely hard, especially if they're a new protocol. Because Nano and BitGrail, Nano and RaiBlocks, it's a completely different blockchain. It's not blockchain even, it's a block lattice. It means that every node running has its own individual blockchain, which also makes tracing what happened a little bit harder, because we do know that BitGrail also took down their nodes for a certain amount of time. So because of the fact that the information stored in that node is isolated to that node, the timestamps for when the transactions happened are no longer accurate. This is kind of the big debate happening right now. When did all those funds leave the account? We do not have a certainty, because those blocks were created on a isolated node. It's just the way that Nano works. It's a little very different from Bitcoin. Bitcoin, because the fact that everyone has a public blockchain, everyone has the same copy of that blockchain, we know for a certainty when transactions enter or leave that ecosystem. With Nano, it's a little bit different. The structure is based on something called a block lattice. Everyone has their own node, and that information is kept in your own node. So unless you have access to that node, unless that node is being placed online and we can have ways to kind of dissect that information, those timestamps are not really accurate as well. This is why there's room for a lot of arguments. There's a room for this accusation right now that I saw today, where BitGrail is now accusing, of course, the Nano team of having incompetent code. So he's now pressing charges against the Nano team. So this kind of situation summarizes this tweet actually summarizes this very well, because there's two camps right now. We have CryptoKink, which says that Zap Shapiro, who was one of the developers behind, of course, Nano, that, well, they were really supporting him in the early stages. So all the way back in January, they're saying that he's a good guy, he'll get us all sorted next week. They were kind of supporting BitGrail in this sense. So definitely some people are extremely upset at the Nano team, and of course there are people who are definitely really angry at the bomber as well. He seemed to be really the only one running this exchange. So what is happening? He's now pressing charges. He's now, of course, trying to hide evidence. He closed down Telegram group and closed down communication for a while. So there we go. So what do I think about this whole situation? So from my analysis from what happened of the timeline yesterday, I believe that there were definitely code problems in BitGrail. And this goes to show it's a new exchange, and what they're doing is they're trying to integrate a very new coin as well. It's very likely that the bomber did not have the experience necessary to run a proper exchange. I think that is extremely possible. It's possible that basically they didn't have the necessary kind of fundamental technical understanding to run this exchange, and the fact is that they added a new coin as well. Nano at that time is a new coin, and every time you add a new coin with a new protocol, there are definitely nuances. So if you look at r/nano and you look at kind of there are some limitations to what you can do, and let's talk about a potential double spend using the RPC properly. What this is trying to say is that potentially what happens is that for the client, it's possible that it doesn't respond in time, but if you issue out spend orders, it will double spend it. Well, it won't. It's kind of like when you're submitting a order on Amazon and you press the order submit button, you're waiting for a long time, 5 minutes, it's still not submitting, so you re-click the submit button and now you get double charged. It's not a double spend on a protocol, but it's submitting 2 orders when there should be only 1 order. I think that's probably a better way to phrase this. So it is possible that the client has maybe some sort of lag or something that meant that it was possible for the exchange to submit 2 transactions when there should have been 1. That is possible. And by the way, thank you guys so much for the donation. Thank you NH236 for the $5 donation. We also have a few donations earlier that I didn't shout out for. So shout outs for Buy Crypto Pig for your MX $10 donation as well. Thank you guys so much for donating to this channel. Fearless1 as well. Thank you so much for the donation. So at this point, what we can see is that it's possible that there were some nuances to working with Nano. This is extremely important to remember that it took a long time for us to get Bitcoin exchanges running properly. The initial exchanges, a lot of the early exchanges died, whether it be it hacks or be it that fact that they cannot run the code properly. And BitGrail is a new exchange, and there's a vulnerability in new exchanges as well. The fact that they're not used to their own code, they're trying to use a new client, they're not used to code for that, and the whole system is not secured up properly. So I definitely think there's a lot of room for error, and it might be possible that the exchange itself is bugged to hell. It's very possible that is the case, and there might be spaghetti code out there. Maybe the bomber was not very clear about what was happening, and this goes to show that in crypto, being a good guy doesn't matter. You know, I just saw it on post right now on here where, you know, Zap Sharpio said, yeah, hey, you know what? You know, the bomber is a good guy. You know, he's a good guy. Being good, be a nice guy doesn't really matter, in the sense that if you're nice, you can still have bad code, and at that point, you probably would have just, best way to do it is to shut the exchange down, fix your code, and then restart it. Because if you keep things and sweep it under the rug, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse until at a certain point, you get a lot of cryptocurrencies gone. So it might be possible it's a combination of both a hack and potentially there might be a bug in the exchange that exacerbated the problem as well. That is very possible at this current point, and it does seem that there's a lot of evidence to this. There's also a lot of evidence that large amounts of Nano left the exchange very early on, and it went to another exchange, either Mercatox or KuCoin. I was looking at the transaction records, but the problem is we don't know for certainty when it left. This is the biggest problem right now facing Nano, because it's a compromise. The way that Nano kind of works is that because you have your own blockchain, it's not possible to really trace those transactions properly for us to explore it. It's not as kind of certain as Bitcoin, and it goes back to the question where Bitcoin, whilst it's lower, it is much more kind of proven, and also because the transactions have UTXO, it's using UTXO usage, it allows us to trace that transaction all the way back. So it might be possible that Nano, because of their way it's designed, it's harder to trace. It's a trade-off. You can't have free lunch in this space. Every technology has a trade-off. And I think there's a misconception that Bitcoin is old tech. That is why it's so slow and so expensive. It's not just because it's old, but it's making certain trade-offs in terms of tracking currency, in terms of holding currency, that some other currencies think, oh yeah, we don't really need that. We don't really need proper timestamps. So boom, we can change and do something else with this. So everything in cryptocurrency space are trade-offs, and it's very, very dangerous to think that Bitcoin is just old. It's like an old computer, an old monitor or something, and that there's something that's like a million times better. So in this sense right now, what's happening is that there is also blame on the Nano team. So how legit are they? Because they stuck their heads out for BitGrail, this is now going to be a fight between these two squadrons, between the Nano team and between, of course, the BitGrail team. One thing I do want to point out is that my personal opinion is that the development team shouldn't have stuck their heads out to support BitGrail. I think this is very dangerous because, of course, we know in the cryptocurrency space, anyone who knows in the cryptocurrency space, it's very, very dangerous to stick your head out for an exchange because of the fact that it's very possible that things like Mt. Gox happens. The things like these hacks, like what happened to BitGrail, happens. And the fact is that maybe they were just kind of supporting that exchange because it was the only exchange it was on at that time. They wanted that the trade volume to go up and for it to be listed on other exchanges. So they might be, financially motivated, the team, to support BitGrail at that time because they're listing, because they're trying to get the volume up, because they're trying to do good for the coin. But at the end of the day, because they stuck their head out, they're a little bit to blame. Not 100%, in my opinion. Maybe 1 or 2% in kind of in contributing to kind of placating that fear. Sometimes fear is a good thing, I guess, in the space where we start wondering, we start connecting the dots together, and then, of course, if something does happen, we might be more prepared for it. We don't know. So at this current point, it's still an ongoing investigation of how much that team knew. Did they do enough due diligence? Were they negligent in kind of chasing and making sure that the exchange knew how to work with their code, that they knew that the exchange was safe to be recommended to their users? There we go. It's very hard to say. BSC44 says, Box Mining, the NAM team handled the XM hack very well. Yeah, the XM hack was actually a hack. The biggest issue right now is that is the BitGrail hack a hack, right? Is it due to poor code? Was it due to the fact that BitGrail itself was compromised in terms of on the code level very early? Were there these bugs that were exploitable to basically scam the exchange of the millions of Nano? Was it possible to double spend or double withdraw on Nano? These are key questions that if the development team knew about it, they should have told users not to use BitGrail. That's the biggest difference. So in a sense, I want to say that Zach Sharpio or the Nano team is kind of free from blame here. In terms of, and that blame always lies on the kind of bridge between the Nano team and BitGrail. In terms of the protocol, I want to say that it is pretty much fine at this point because it's tradable, because other exchanges are using it. The protocol is not hacked. So in terms of the protocol, I think they're free from blame. But in terms of their kind of working partnership with BitGrail, it might be this case that they may know something, or they might have been probably better off doing a little bit more due diligence, or perhaps even not choosing BitGrail to list. Because when you list a coin, it's extremely important to make sure that your users are protected. So in that sense, it might be the case that they were going aggressive. They didn't really carefully vet BitGrail. They saw issues and maybe they ignored it. It might be possible there. And especially because of the fact that they stuck their head out, then there's definitely blame for the developers between the linking between the coin and the exchange. But that being said, cryptocurrencies are meant to be decentralized. So in a sense that, how much can you really blame a kind of decentralized team, a decentralized project yet again? In that case, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. All right, so I think we're finished with that topic. We're all the way up to 10:35 right now. Pretty cool. Elastos. So yesterday we had a few requests for Elastos. So yesterday I asked which coins should I talk about this week. So we have ETP, Metaverse. This is actually from Eric Gu, the creator of Metaverse. Definitely want to follow that up if you guys are interested in that. It's just been, there's so many projects to cover right now. There's so many, in terms of what I want to do, I have a huge list of projects on coins I want to talk about. There's a lot of ICOs about, we have got questions about ICOs as well, the whole of this week. And there's a huge list of ICOs I want to talk about as well. So just give me a sense, it's just crazy, just almost like 100 projects that I want to talk about. So it'll be eventually done. There's a lot of coming talk about Hive as well, and of course Deep Onion. So there's so many different coins that I'm looking into. Matrix AI network as well as definitely something else I do want to eventually talk about. So this week is probably going to be a very, very busy week for me, and it's going to be really fun. So thank you everyone again for donations as well. Thank you so much, Samuel Rigby, for your $10 donation as well. Thank you guys so much, man. So in terms of Elastos, I started looking at yesterday. It was actually pretty interesting. It was pretty interesting. What they're trying to do is they're trying to have a framework for decentralized apps, which is kind of interesting because right now what they're saying is that Ethereum only has a computational layer. It doesn't really offer that much in terms of storage. What they do want to do is they want to make a new kind of cryptocurrency that fixes everything. This is yet another one of these hugely ambitious projects out there because they're trying to make so much happen in this space. It's going to be absolutely crazy in terms of what they want to do. Let's just check this out. Yeah, so yesterday I was reading this up a lot. They're talking about the limitations of Ethereum and how they want to change it. They want to allow the creation of real decentralized applications to run in here. They have a very, very interesting leader as well. He's worked in, I think it was, this guy, Ron Chen. He was chairman of the Elastos Foundation, Tsinghua University. And I think he was an ex-IBM guy or something like that. Yeah, he's got, let me check. Let's check his LinkedIn. How come I didn't manage to? I researched this guy yesterday, but Ronchin Elasto. Was it this guy? Yeah, no, that's not the guy. Oh, this guy, yeah. Ronchin Elastos. Okay, Microsoft engineer. So he's been in Microsoft until 2000. Tried to do a few of his own projects, and now he's Elastos. So that's interesting. So I'm gonna probably look at Elastos for doing some more due diligence on it. So this is kind of my initial thoughts. It's kind of very interesting how they're trying to push that technology even further, trying to make their own runtime, and of course trying to kind of really make a platform for dApps as well. So this just reminds me of EOS, but a little bit different from EOS. Just the way they're trying to set up the blockchain is gonna be quite different. That's my initial impression of it so far. I do want to hear you guys if you like these kind of overall looks, 5-second glances, because they do help kind of me clear up the list and give an indication of my thoughts about a cryptocurrency to you guys before a proper review. It does take a long time to chase up on a project. This is the hardest problem with this space. Like people, I guess there's so many different projects. There's thousands of new ICOs, thousands of different cryptocurrencies, and to even research one of these, it takes a long time. So yet again, we're at a point where I'm wondering if I should show that research live. Should I talk about it? Like kind of my mindset of it when I'm slowly moving towards and talking about a currency. This is something that I do want to ask. And it goes back to the issue of course, yesterday I posted a video on Current as well. So Current is a way for us to combine our media together. And of course, they're not doing a full ICO. They just finished a pre-sale round and they have an airdrop. So shout outs to Current. It took me a long time. Current was a suggestion. It got really, really hot back all the way in January. And it was a suggestion by Box Council. So I took a look. I kind of liked it. Then I kind of made a video on it. And it took so long to get that research done. It took ages to find out what it's used for, what the mining process is, and do I like it or not at the end. So it all goes to this question of like, how long should I do research on it? And if I do research on it and I present a video, then sometimes people are like, oh, it's sponsored. Guys, come on. This year, what I'm going to do this year is I'm actually going to invest more into ICOs. I'm going to maybe be talking about it. So in terms of conflict of interest, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably invest, or the more technical phrase is to contribute to an ICO. So that's what I'm going to do this year. I have a huge list and I have the whole Box Council kind of taking a look at different ICOs and to see which ones are good. So in terms of what I like. I'm going to pick the best ones I like in a certain list, and I'm going to talk about those. So that's going to be maybe the conflict of interest coming in this year, and I do want to declare that out very early. I do want to thank as well Samuel Rigby as well. So thank you so much for the $100 donation. Gatcoin is awesome. Can you do a Q&A with the CEO Simon? I'll take a look. Gatcoin is something that was also brought up as well, and I did a video on them because I found those pretty cool. It's a way to use cryptocurrencies and to use airdrops, but instead of airdrops to everyone, it's location-based airdrops, so they want to use that in the retail space. So I feel like that's kind of interesting as well. We also have EConnect says ICO winter. Let's check a look. Caesar says, what is Box Council? So Box Council is a group of, I guess, friends that I really do trust in. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to work together to analyze a project. This kind of helps me a lot because right now to analyze projects, it takes me way too much time. So what we've been doing is we've been collecting information about, how successful ICOs have been, what's your initial price, what is your objective. We're trying to classify them into different categories and to really think of kind of this whole space more professionally. But at the same time, it's really hard because it's an investing space. So we'll see how that goes. It's kind of a new project that I'm starting. I'm trying to get a council of people to really help research this whole space for me. So in a sense, it's been too crazy for me to just do one sort of coin, one person, one man show. It's way too much. So this year I'm asking for a little bit of help. Eventually I want to open that up, but for now I'm just trusting a few people that I've been working with in the space for a long time. That way it just makes communication much easier. Shaik says, what's up Deep Onion? Nice. I actually been researching Monero a lot recently, so yeah. Grant Huey says, what do you think of Electroneum? I actually didn't really like it in their white paper phase just because of how kind of a little bit misleading their mining is. I guess they're basically Monero with 2 decimal digits instead of, I think, 8. So in that sense, they're essentially Monero, if you think of Electroneum, with a cool mobile app. And I've actually installed their mobile app as well. So the Electroneum mobile app, I did install it. I verified myself. I don't think the mining works yet. So it's still like in progress. One thing I didn't really like about Electroneum was it took a while for them to get their technology working and they had a few hiccups. Hopefully that will be resolved in the future. We don't know so far. Monero is actually very hard to work with, to be fair. So I'm brushing up on Monero itself. Monero itself is actually quite hard to work with and they're improving it at a rapid pace. And so I actually kind of want to say, if you guys are interested in Electroneum, check out Monero because they're actually super legit. Not just legit, but super legit. So if you guys like kind of privacy-based technology and that's rapidly improving as well, Monero, from my look at it right now, the Reddit's actually really clean. So this is in part because I want to relook at privacy-based cryptocurrencies as well. So personally, just learning about privacy-based cryptocurrencies and of course the technology. So we have Zcash competing with Monero. And the interesting about Monero is that almost all the transactions are private. So they're private by default, which means that it's much harder to trace back transactions because private transactions won't stick out like a sore thumb in a space. Zcash, I think a lot of the transactions are still transparent. They're not using the Z addresses. So it's going to be interesting to see how this compares up. So Toby Hobbins says, if you want privacy coin, Monero, Zcash, Zcoin, or Aeon, Monero is the most, I think it's a really interesting one. Team Joey says, thoughts on EOS? Oh, sorry, not EOS, Ethos. For Ethos, I'm very interested. I think Superman is a big fan of Ethos. I'm waiting for the wallet to check out because it's been a while and we really need that wallet this year. So no thoughts until the wallet comes out. And that was kind of the thing that I was saying as well. Like, shame on Ethos. Like, I guess it takes a while for an app to come out, but Engine came out with their wallet app already on Android. And come on, Ethos, next week or next month or something. Give us something. Give us something. At Box Mining, privacy coin bias here. I actually been really biased towards Dash recently, before previously. So in terms of Dash as cryptocurrency, they have private send, but there's limitations to Dash as well. So privacy coin is one of those most touchy subjects in this cryptocurrency space. There's big ones, there's small ones, there's people pushing me onto small ones, there's very, very private ones. I'm not biased, just in general, I'm just trying to look from the biggest ones and bottom down. So from the top to the bottom, just trying to look at the biggest ones, compare them, and see where their technology lies, and then we're going to try to move towards the smaller ones as well. So that's how it's going to go. Okay, so finishing up with some questions. Orza Dao says, is NEO moving out of China? Yes, because they held the developer conference all the way in San Francisco. They're trying to be an international blockchain. It's going to be very, very different. It's very different. Malik says Verge. Verge, I'm still on the fence about, because Verge, in terms of their privacy, they just have a creation of a new address, which is something that Monero did. So I might do a Verge versus Monero. It's extremely, extremely difficult to compare privacy coins. Right now, just learning the tech of it is extremely hard because it goes much deeper into just simple blockchain technology. Privacy is something that's very hard to solve in this space. So anyways, it'll take a while. So hope you guys can stay with me on that. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching today. I think this is going to be what I'm going to cover today. Thank you guys so much for asking questions as well. I think we're pretty much set in terms of housekeeping. We're set on the Box Nation name. We did a few, let me just check, let me just confirm this right now. So I did a poll on basically Twitter and of course a poll on the, let me just double check that. So the idea is that we wanted a name for our community, and we were thinking of a couple of names. I put 3 out to vote. Let me just pick, so let me just check this out. It's been a while, apparently. It's too many tweets. There we go. So what should we call our community? We have 3,000 something votes on Twitter, and we have some on YouTube as well. Let me just check YouTube. I'm just gonna say. Actually, I know what the fastest way to do it. This is. Sorry for the delay, guys. So we have, yeah, the overwhelming vote for both Box for YouTube and Twitter is Box Nation. So I think the community has more or less spoken for this. So we're gonna call ourselves Box Nation in the future. This is gonna be the community, the name for the community that we're gonna set up as a team. So Box Nation, guys, that's gonna be what's gonna happen. And we're gonna t-shirts as well. We're gonna get t-shirts coming up after Chinese New Year. So I think that's when China actually starts operating. We're gonna have some t-shirt designs. We're gonna talk about t-shirt designs as well. It's gonna be really fun. This is really exciting for me. I've never done t-shirts. I haven't done this before, but like the nation was pushing me, man. The nation, we have built this nation together. We wanted t-shirts. We're gonna get t-shirts. We're probably gonna get Patreon as well to help support this channel a little bit. That's hopefully the way we can go in the future. Obviously, YouTube and its monetization isn't really enough to keep everything going. And Box Council, we're going to look at ICOs and hopefully find new ways to make money, because obviously everyone's interested in making money in this space. But I've been calling people to, don't let greed overtake you. Do not let greed overtake you. It's a very, very big scene, and we definitely want to do a lot of research in this space. So hopefully we can do that together as a team of Box Nation. So Box Nation, have a nice day, guys. Check out what's happening with BitGrail. The lesson learned here is not to keep your cryptocurrency in exchanges. I know it's a little bit harder for Nano because there's no Nano support on Ledger. There's no hardware wallet support. So it might be the case that you have to learn how to run a Linux VM or something like that to keep that crypto safe. It's gonna be a nightmare, and that's a drawback to new coins. New coins are hard to use because they're not really well supported. The moment they are well supported, well, then the price is gonna go like that because everyone's gonna buy them and hodl them. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Check out Box Nation. Check out the Box Nation Telegram group, guys. Check out Twitter. I'm gonna ask questions about what coins to check out and to add to the list on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the 100 Australian dollar donation, Samuel. I'll definitely check up and follow up on the GAD coin. It's something that's been on my list as well. And a lot of Box Council members are big GAD coin fans. So there we go. And thank you so much for watching, guys. See you guys